are igniting the blockchain today for Ardor Celebration Days, and I am the crypto woman, also known as Elizabeth, and you are with Forkedchain, also known as Byrd. And we are excited to have Bo with us today because he has been instrumental in securing the NXT blockchain and making things work behind the scenes from about day one. So, Bo, you said to me that this is the first time that you are letting us know who you are. And why don't you tell us a little bit more about you, since this is your introduction?
Okay, yeah. Well, I guess I'll say I'm an older guy. I'm not. I know this space is a fairly young space now, and
well,
I'm here. I am, anyways. You know, better late than never.
right.
And when I say better late than never, I by that I mean I missed out on the whole Bitcoin explosion back in 2008, and I almost missed out on the whole NXT piece as well. Just by a few weeks, I got involved in the community shortly after the blockchain launch, and you know, I was head over heels, basically, full steam ahead, off I go here. All NXT. I've not really involved in any other cryptocurrency ever since 2012 there, except for just recently. Now there's another one I'm starting to get involved in, but besides that, it's only NXT.
Well, how do you have time with what you do? Before we get into what you do, how did you find NXT, and what really grabbed you and made you want to stick around?
Yeah, it was when I realized I had missed out on Bitcoin, and I kind of had a little conversation with myself. And I thought, there may be something else that comes out after Bitcoin that I might be able to get in early enough. And so I did some little research, came up on Bitcoin Talk, and then that's when I found the announcement. I guess they didn't have announcements back then, but it was what we know as the announcement now for NXT. I was scrambling. Got involved at the beginning, just about, and like I said, ever since then I've been all for it.
Right. So somewhere you got involved in the forging, the staking process, and running nodes. Why don't you tell us about that? Because it's extremely important, and please let us know how important it is.
Sure. Well, it being NXT being proof of stake requires a healthy network of nodes out there actively, and not just necessarily nodes, but a high amount of the forging power, or forging tokens actively staked on the network. And that was what I saw that I could contribute to this to the system as a whole. Just with my background and my experience, using VPSs and Linux and whatnot. And so I, began to run up, I guess, an army of nodes. I've got a bunch of volunteers out there, and I said, hey, for free, if you just want to pay for the VPSs, I'll run them up. And so I did that for a good period of time. I had some really powerful systems up there running for quite some time, and I kind of just handed it over, which was really cool. There was somebody, I forgot the guy's name already. I know he was in on the bounty. I saw his name on the bounty, and I was happy to see that he got some recognition there as well. But he kind of took over the forging nodes for me. At that same time, I had began to have the forging pool, which I guess that's probably my biggest contribution here. Is I pretty much ran for free a forging pool that anybody can go lease their power. We'll generate blocks and generate a little bit of income, and then we'll just send it back to them. And a lot of Bitcoin mining pools will charge you. And for the past 4 years or so, I've been running this free of charge. And I guess thinking that, okay, if I can just, if me and everybody else can just work together, eventually we'll make this thing, make it big.
Yeah, you're right. So you plan to continue?
Well, I'm definitely going to continue with Ardor. I may or may not keep the NXT one up and running. It's kind of dwindled down significantly. I think at its peak it got almost nearly 30 million NXT in there at its height, which was a couple years ago. And now it's well under 1 million, I believe, now, last I checked. If there's not much of a drive for it, I'll probably just take it down. But I'm definitely planning on running the Ardor one.
Okay, and we'll be able to access the Ardor one shortly after launch?
Yeah, shortly after launch. I've actually had it up and working on my internal test system, actually fully operational. And then I kind of just said, okay, well, I'll wait for a little bit closer to launch. they may have tweaked some things that made it not work correctly anymore. And so I'm in the process of that right now. Obviously, I'll use the same account number, and I guess it will just be ARDR in the front instead of NXT.
Okay.
I guess I should go ahead and make a little announcement on our forum so people know about it. Hopefully they'll see this what we're doing right here and know that I'm going to do it again.
Yeah, if I can help you get that word out, let me know.
Okay. Yeah. I guess I'll need to go ahead and make an announcement first. I may spin up another VPS. I guess I need to go ahead and start doing that, making preparation. But I will it may not be fully up and reporting at launch, but it will be actually forging. People will be able to lease out to it at launch.
Wow. So you put a lot of work into that at the background.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow. So what is it about this community or this project that just keeps you contributing?
Yeah, it's like one thing I like is seeing people like you and Damon and a few other people that have seen from the beginning that are still here, kind of still doing things and still contributing. That's really cool, I think. And like I said, Riker, he's been there from almost the very, very beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe it's because we see the vision for the future.
Yeah. It's really impressive that what they've built here. I mean, I remember when I first saw his little white paper when he was discussing what Ardor was supposed to be, and I was like, oh man, this is crazy. But I guess it's been fairly recently that I've really I guess understood the genius of what he's going to be able to do with it.
Well, yes, once they put the testnet out and people started being able to download it, go in and poke around. I obviously didn't do any work on it, but I've poked around on it just to see what's available, and it is pretty impressive, actually. Yeah. And when you hear the problems in the blockchain community as a whole right now and the things that people are trying to solve, and know that in 3 days, maybe 2 days,
Yes.
launching the solution. Wow, how exciting is that, right?
Yeah, and it's I know everybody's everybody's excited, and like I said, a lot of us has just been waiting. I think the whole Ardor thing was announced over 2 years ago, I think, and
the testnet's been up for what, about 10 months now?
And I'm sure I'm not the only person that's been fairly disappointed that Next just hadn't really taken off. Given that it was the very first completely novel. It's not based on any Bitcoin code. And I guess maybe Purecoin you could say is not, but the NXT was definitely the most dramatic departure from what we saw earlier in blockchain.
Yeah, and that disappointment was real for a lot of us. And that disappointment was real for a lot of us.
Oh yeah, I understand that.
We all had to work through that and decide how committed we were to the fundamentals of the project, to to the bigger picture. And it's to me amazing the dedication of the developers to the project.
Probably one of the big things that's kept me in on it though is the fact that I know at some point proof of stake is going to have to take over. Us beating Ethereum to it would be really, really good. Obviously, there's a few other proof of stakes out there that I don't think it's any wide scale adoption that they've taken on it though. I see Ardor has a prime opportunity to really attract some growth into it and really start making some traffic on it.
Right, because look at the fully featured or the fully developed feature kit.
Oh man, I don't. Sometimes I don't believe it, how we kind of throw the client at new people. I've kind of suggested a few times, like, you guys really need to make like an easy mode. Because, there's just so many features and it can do so much that just the new person that's going to look at it, all they probably want to care about is sending and receive currency at first. But yeah, there's just so much reporting in there. There's so much options. There's so much features, and it's just I don't see how this it's not going to take off.
Well, and Ignis is going to be a prime example for that, because it's going to have all of those time-tested features of
Exactly.
Only as a child chain, so there'll be certain things that it'll be able to do and some certain limitations. But it's going to be the demonstration coin, and then we'll have other child chains that pick and choose those features. So it's going to be easy to replicate for businesses. So I think we're all really excited. Really, really appreciate the fact that you are doing the work again for the Ardor Platform, because those that forging has to happen and those stakes have to be secured,
Yeah, yeah. Oh, and once again, I'll say thank you. I'll go ahead and publicly acknowledge your help here. I'm not a web designer. You know, I can write back end stuff all day long, but you know, front end stuff I can't do. And that front end you gave me a couple years ago that I used on the Next tool, that was great. It plugged right in.
You reminded me of that last week, and I had totally forgotten about it.
Yeah, I mean, I just dumped it in there, and it just automatically worked. And I was like, oh, great, this is perfect, you know. And I didn't think another thing about it, you know.
I haven't either, because back then, you know, and that's the way we worked back then.
Right.
When something needed to be done, we did it, and
Yeah.
we didn't always think about the compensation.
Right,
you know,
right,
sometimes a whale would donate it to us. Sometimes there were bounties to pursue, but
Yeah.
sometimes there was just work to be done, like the initiative you took.
Right.
Just had to be done. So I think that was, in my mind, something that just needed to be done.
Yeah, and thanks. Yeah, thanks much. I'm going to use that same front end there for the Ardor one. People, you know, that way people will, you know, who are used to the pool, the NXT pool, will just see the Ardor pool and be like, oh, it's the same exact thing.
Exactly, some continuity. Good, go for it. I'm thrilled that it's being used again. That's great. Right. Super. So you've been in this space for a long time. And right now we are acquiring many new members to our family, right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And these same people are also maybe new to crypto in general. Do you have any words of wisdom for them?
Oh yeah, don't get into the trap of thinking you can become a day trader just because you make one trade and you make some money off of it, because that's going to bite you hard.
Yeah, I think a lot of people in the early in the summer.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Something will jump. Yeah, something will jump and you make a bunch of money off of it. It's not any smart decision that you made. You know, don't fall into the trap of thinking that you will all of a sudden become a trader, because yeah, it's bit me a couple times.
Yeah, and that's another thing too, right? We learn lessons the hard way often in this space.
Oh yeah, there's some people that learn really hard lessons.
Yeah. Don't. So the other part of that is don't invest or play with money you don't have.
Oh gosh, yeah. Ugh. Yeah, I've heard a story. You know, I saw one just today. Some guy said he took a mortgage out and put it on something, and yeah, he's screwed. I mean, I don't know if I believe. Yeah, I don't know if I believe that. Right? You know, do you really believe that? But ugh.
I don't know. You know,
what I really feel sorry for though.
People.
I'm sorry. Like I said, who I really feel sorry for are the people who get their stuff, their stuff stolen.
Yeah.
That's who you really feel bad for.
Right. It is, because it's a shock. Those things happen.
It's a tough entry into the wild world of cryptocurrency. You know, people don't understand what decentralization really means. Decentralization.
That's right. You're exactly right. And it is a hard entry, but it's easier than it was. I think sometimes we forget that. You know, I remember when we were doing the command line thing to install our clients.
Yeah.
You know? And so now we just click and, you know, it happens. And
yeah.
We think that this is so easy now, but it is still a pretty complicated entry. I think.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. Wow. I'm really privileged that you decided to.
Thanks. You're gonna make me blush.
What's that?
I said you're gonna make me blush.
Oh, okay. Well, it's time for the world to meet Forkedchain.
Okay. Well, great.
Yeah, it's just time for that to happen, and I'm glad you let us know what's going on with the future of these two.
All right. Well, thanks for having me today. I'm glad here to say hello to the world finally. I guess it's about time.
Yes. Stay public. Let us know.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I will be public on some other new projects I'll be coming on that I'm sure everybody will figure out eventually. But yeah.
Ooh, are you going to talk to us about those now, or is that just a hint?
They're not. It's going to be a different cryptocurrency. I'm sure everybody will figure it out eventually.
Okay. All right. Well, best to you in all of your endeavors.
Yep. Oh, thanks a lot. And I'll be, like I said, full steam ahead with Ardor here on January 1st.
Yep. And we'll talk to you another time.
All right. Thanks a lot. Y'all have a good evening. Happy New Year.
Bye, Bob.
All right.